In this section, I want to be covering the importance of knowing what the open of a market and the close of a market is. So for this example, we're going to be using the cable, which is the pound versus the US dollar. So the pound sterling against the US dollar. So I'm just going to write it on the screen now as we speak. So we're going to be using the base currency, which is the British pound, and then our quote currency is going to be the US dollar. So what we're going to be doing, we're going to be looking at the open of the London session versus the open of the US session. So I'm going to start off by saying that the British pound will open at 8 o'clock. So the British are pretty much going to be trying to strengthen their own currency all the way to the 5 o'clock close. But unfortunately, what happens at 1 o'clock, the New York session actually opens. So from 1 o'clock all the way to 5 o'clock, you have the overlap session where the London session and the New York session are both running parallel. So what actually happens in this is the British pound has no major resistance up until about 1 o'clock. So from the open till about 1 o'clock, there's not too much fighting back against it other than the European session. So what we're going to look at is what happens to the market once the US session opens, so the New York session opens, and the pound session actually closes. So you can see on my chart, I've pinpointed the 5 o'clock candles. Okay, so you can see that the markets run all the way up to 5 o'clock, and then at 5 o'clock, you can see we've took a turnaround. Previous day, you can see we've gone all the way down to 5 o'clock, and at 5 o'clock, we've took a nice bullish move to the upside. Why is this? Well, in really, really simple terms, if we see the pound like a shop, so we've got the pound shop, and then we've got the US dollar shop. Well, the pound shop is technically selling its products all the way until they close. So this shop it's the pound shop, we call this the British pound shop, and we close at 5 p.m. Okay, so we're going to be trading all the way till 5 p.m. and we've got no other rival shops selling the same products. Unfortunately, what happens at 1 o'clock, Mr. US dollar shop decides to open. So what that actually does is causes some competition for the British pound. So unfortunately, what happens is the British pound hasn't got as much strength as it did being on its own. And at the close of the market at 5 o'clock, which is here, the US session have already been selling their products since 1 o'clock. Yep, so they've got 4 hours of their shop actually being open and trading. So technically what we're going to be doing, as soon as Mr. Pound shop shuts at 5 o'clock, the US dollar shop no longer has any competition. So this is why you've got to be careful. If you're in a long position on, say, the British pound US dollar from, say, 9-10 o'clock in the morning, and you've made a really, really nice profit up to about 4-5 o'clock in the afternoon, you really want to be banking or protecting your investment before the close of the market, because this is where we see a nice retracement. Okay, and there's also something called the 4 o'clock fix, and we will be covering that later on in our videos.